Previously, we took a look at the orange and red metro lines, two bus rapid transit options in the Twin Cities of Minnesota that serve suburban areas of the South Metro area just beyond the Minnesota River. Today, we're observing the concept of the Metro Gold Line BRT and the progress of its construction. The Gold Line was initially studied in 2010 with the intention of serving East Metro communities along the Interstate 94 corridor toward Hudson, Wisconsin. This area is highly car dependent, with only a few express bus options to each of the Twin Cities downtown cores and a scattering of local routes operating within Metro Transit's spoke and hub model. Local bus connections are mostly confined to the suburbs within the Interstate 694 beltway, though crosstown services have been tweaked to improve connections with neighborhood routes for commuters not needing to go downtown. There's hardly any routes that can be accomplished without having to devote at least 30 minutes to an hour apiece for the beginning and end of trips. Enter the Gold Line. This was initially studied as a commuter rail concept, but planning commissions quickly fell to bus rapid transit as the preferred option. This makes sense given Metro Transit's inability to come to favorable terms of negotiation and marketing strategy to get suburban communities on board heavy or light rail service options. Indeed, the new bus-only infrastructure that has become the defining characteristic of the Gold Line extends no further than barely a half-mile beyond the Beltway into Oakdale and Woodbury, the latter of which is within walking distance of my main layover point. Heading inbound, the Gold Line will originate at Wood Lane Park and Ride. The terminus station is being built a short distance from the present express bus terminus, which is being modified to become the Queens Park and Ride station. When I say station, this appears to be planned in the style of the Orange Line through Woodbury, with limited stop access for commuters that are expected to commute to park and rides to be taken to BRT to their destination. From Queens, the buses will turn north and take a dedicated median lane to Tamarack Station, then over a newly constructed bridge combining BRT and vehicular traffic to yet another park and ride at Helmo Avenue Station. Presently, there are two local bus routes that go this far east into the suburbs, but I've never ridden them and experienced significant ridership, save the Route 209, which can fill up more quickly given its jitney-sized minibuses. Metro Transit hasn't yet divulged any plans to expand the local bus network around these BRT stations. One would hope they would do so to increase ridership of those independent of automobiles, or perhaps initiate a micro-transit partnership with ride-sharing, but appear to be continuing to market the Gold Line this far out as a drive to catch the bus option. Not very encouraging. Now heading west, this section of the Gold Line project hasn't yet seen infrastructure upgrades in this current phase. Though past the site of the future Greenway Avenue station, work has begun on the groundwork for the future bus-only right-of-way improvements that will locate dedicated carriageways for buses along the north side of Interstate 94. Some commenters on Metro Transit's well-shot but dismally modern-scored flyover video of the route have asked whether the project seeks to accommodate upgrades to the mid-century style exit ramps that are the trademark of this section of the freeway. While such improvements would theoretically improve traffic flow, the question seems to be left in the air for the time being. All the same, the Maplewood station in front of the 3M Corporation's campus with its fantastically designed tower afford the Gold Line a close proximity to the traffic-laden I-94. The sell on commuters stuck waiting behind vehicles unable to successfully merge at speed has long been a selling point to drive commuters to express bus services in metro areas around the United States. Metro Transit's efforts to spearhead effective local development of transit options within communities has mostly been restricted to corridors within and close proximity to Minneapolis and St. Paul proper. The Gold Line is no exception to this urban focus. We've now crossed into St. Paul's East Side neighborhoods, where stations have been placed between major cross streets in an effort to bring residential enclaves into what has thus far been a suburban commuter-driven line. Now we begin to see where the rail alternatives were intended, but deferred to bus infrastructure for the benefit of less disruption to these neighborhoods during the construction process. The bus bridges fly over the imposing footprint of US 61's interchange with I-94, and the new retaining wall construction beyond will contain the BRT, while affording Dayton's Bluff residents a redundant transit option downtown amongst the existing conflagration of local bus routes, but improving their access to suburban endpoints by way of fewer intermediate stops, as well as dedicated infrastructure on the new Gold Line. Departing the future Mounds Boulevard station, BRT will be woven into the inbound route Metro Transit currently sets buses upon the descending Kellogg Avenue Viaduct that carries traffic over the historic rail junctions east of downtown St. Paul. Ahead is Union Depot, which as far as I can tell isn't planned to see the Gold Line enter its concourse-level platforms for boarding, opting instead to run one-way routes through downtown St. Paul, eventually terminating around Xcel Energy Center at the Smith Avenue Transit Center. So that will be the Gold Line. It's a step up in dedicated infrastructure for BRT in the Twin Cities. The communities within St. Paul will get a more efficiently running option to access downtown and points along the route, as well as the additional retail shopping options afforded in Woodbury. What remains to be seen is if or how riders that don't want to drive to a park and ride will be able to utilize the service. The East Metro hasn't seen much diplomacy in planning transit options beyond cars or rush hour only weekday express bus service. For these riders, time is extremely valuable, and when the choice to drive meets their schedules better than awaiting a bus, as well as adding the park and ride as a point in their journey, it's unlikely that they'll see Metro Transit's touted benefits as a reason to utilize the Gold Line. My bottom line here is, let's talk about transit options beyond the endpoints. Make service more frequent and further convenient for riders, and they'll be more likely to leave their cars for road trips and utilize Metro Transit's offerings that are now beginning to weave into their communities. This is a layered concept, with some challenging mindsets as well as lofty concepts, so comment down below to further the discussion. The new Flyer fleet expected to make up the Gold Line rolling stock is purportedly similar to the urban BRT C-Line offering in Minneapolis, so it seems like we'll next crack into the lettered BRT lines to get a feel for where we'll be sitting when the Gold Line supposedly begins operation in 2025. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.